roads lead to book club on Monday. So I'm very excited that all of you are here with us, hoping that let me turn this volume down, y'all. You know, I got to look on my phone so I can see what we're doing. So as you're logging on, let me know what city, what state, and or what country you may be joining us from. I am Nina Moore, and if this is your first time here for book club, welcome. Here's why you need to be here on book club. Number one, leaders are readers. Number two, you're never ever going to earn more than you learn. Number three, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And here's the bonus tip, you just need to be here with me, right? So you cannot pour from an empty cup. You must get your cup refilled, refueled. And I know that you're wondering, well, why in the world would I pick Mondays? Well, the good thing about book club is that you don't even need your book to participate. You don't have to have the book. I'm actually going to read it to you. And no matter where you are in the world, whether you're driving home from work, whether you are fixing dinner for your children, your family, whether you are just getting in, you can pop this on and you can listen, take notes when you can. But for those of you that are ready to elevate to the next level, you don't want to miss a Monday. Currently, we are reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And for those of you that have been here with us since we started the book, or maybe you made it last week or the week before, drop it in the comments. How are you feeling about this book, Think and Grow Rich? Now, I promise that you've probably never, ever attended a book club quite like this one, where we actually take the time to read through the books. We talk about how this made us feel, and we also take time to break down the words. And so we're actually almost finished chapter 2, and I'm going to go ahead and start reading. Chapter 2 was a bomb, right? It bomb in a good way, meaning like it was boom. Chapter 2 literally made us all look in the mirror at some things. Chapter 2 was all about desire. Okay, it was all about desire. And so we left off with, in all of my experience in dealing with men and women who had personal problems, I never handled a single case which more definitely demonstrates the power of desire. Authors sometimes make the mistake of writing of subjects of which they have but superficial or very elementary knowledge. It has been my good fortune to have had the privilege of testing the soundness of the power of desire through the affliction of my own son. Perhaps it was providential that the experience came as it did, for surely no one is better prepared than he to serve as an example of what happens when desire is put to the test. If Mother Nature bends to the will of desire, is it logical that mere men can defeat a burning desire? And I think I want to kind of stop and talk about that right there. We ended last week talking about his son, and his son who was born with no hearing apparatus, meaning his son who was born with no ears. But this father decided, my son will hear and will speak. He will not be a deaf mute. And the fact that he chose to believe, and then he chose to implant that belief in his son did hear. What we talked about last week was the fact that after year number 3, when he didn't hear or speak, or after year number 12, when he wasn't speaking or hearing, even though at the age of 7, they realized that he was actually hearing some things. At the age of 3, they realized he was actually hearing some things. But it wasn't until he turned 18 that he had full range of hearing, and there shortly after began to work for the company that that developed the hearing aids, as well as being able to work, teach, speak, and help them produce a more effective product for the hearing impaired. I'm going to ask you that question again. If Mother Nature bends to the will of desire, is it logical that mere men can defeat a burning desire? If desire truly is the thing that runs us, that fuels us, that moves us, if desire is truly that thing, then when a person really says to you, I really want this, and those are mere words, we're looking for what? the actions, right? And before it gets dark, we might need to turn some lights on in here because we forgot that we didn't turn the rest of the house lights on, right? Because we've got these lights on. So I'm going to ask that question again. If Mother Nature bends to the will of desire, is it logical that mere men can defeat a burning desire? Let me see what you're saying in the chat. Hello from California. I see you, Flint, Michigan. I see South Carolina here with us. Marguerite Faison said there's a lot of revelation in the book. We've got Washington, D.C. here with us. Sonia Villarreal, who said she wasn't going to be able to make it. And look at that. She is here with us. If Mother Nature bends to the will of desire, is it logical that mere men can defeat a burning desire? Now, I'm going to say this to you. There's something clever to me about the words, the will of desire. The will of desire. Let's look up what, in fact, is the will of desire. What is the will of desire? We've already broken down what desire means, but what is it? What is the will of desire? Let's see what that is, y'all. We're in no rush. What is the will of desire? The difference between our will and desire, that's not what we want. What is the will? What is the difference between God? That's not what we want. Discerning God's will. No, what is the difference between desire and will? See, we want the will of desire. I don't think we're going to be able to find that. We're going to be able to find will or desire. The difference between desire and will are so there is nothing that breaks down what the will of desire is. All right, y'all. So strange and imponderable is the power of the human mind. We do not understand the method by which it uses every circumstance, every individual, every physical thing within its reach as a means of transmuting desire into its physical counterpart. Perhaps science will uncover this secret. I planted in my son's mind the desire to hear and to speak as any normal person hears and speaks. He says, I planted in my son's mind the desire to hear and to speak as any normal person hears and speaks. What did you plant into your mind today? What did you plant into your mind this weekend? That desire has now become a reality. I planted in his mind the desire to convert his greatest handicap into his greatest asset. So, for those of you who say, well, I got a lot going on. For those of you that say, well, I've got this and this and that thing going on in my life. For those of you that say, well, I've got this medical thing going on. He says, I planted in his mind the desire to convert his greatest handicap into his greatest asset. Could it be we choose to not convert our greatest handicaps into assets because we would much rather be afflicted, and or we would much rather, we like the attention given because of the affliction? Oh. Uh-oh. It's quiet in the camp today. I'm going to ask that question one more time. Is it possible that we don't convert our greatest handicap into our greatest assets because we prefer the attention given because of the said handicap? That desire has been that desire has been realized. The modus operandi by which this astounding result was achieved is not hard to describe. It consisted of three very definite facts. First, I mixed faith with the desire for normal hearing, which I passed on to my son. So faith is passed on, so is doubt. He said, I mixed faith with my desire for normal hearing, and then I passed that on to my son. Second, I communicated my desire to him, in every conceivable way available through persistent, continuous effort over a period of years. Third, he believed me. So, first, he mixed faith with desire and passed it on to his son. Second, he communicated that desire in every way, which means he was consistent about it. He was obsessed about it. There was never a day that you saw him or that you were around him where you didn't hear that he was passing on this desire to his son in every conceivable way. And the third thing, his son believed him. As this chapter was being completed, news came of the death of MME, Shoeman Hank. One short paragraph in the News Dispatch gives the clue to this unusual woman's stupendous success as a singer. I quote the paragraph because the clue it contains is none other than desire. Early in her career, MME Shoeman Hank visited the director of the Vienna Court Opera to have him test her voice, but he did not test it. After taking one look at the awkward and poorly dressed girl, he exclaimed, none too gently, with such a face and with no personality at all, how can you ever expect to succeed in opera? My good child, give up the idea, buy a sewing machine and go to work. You can never be a singer. Never is a long time. I hate when people use the word never. Like, I hate it with a passion. Don't tell me never. Don't tell me you always do. No, I don't like bunching up people in one word. Never is a very long time. The director of the Vienna Court Opera knew much about the technique of singing. He knew little about the power of desire. When it assumes the proportion of an obsession, if he had known more of that power, he would not have made the mistake of condemning genius without giving it an opportunity. Several years ago, one of my business associates became ill. He became worse as time went on and finally was taken to a hospital for an operation. Just before he was wheeled into the operating room, I took a look at him and I wondered how anyone as thin and emaciated as he could possibly go through a major operation successfully. The doctor warned me that there was little of, if any, chance of ever seeing him alive again. But that was the doctor's opinion. It was not the opinion of the patient. Just before he was wheeled away, he whispered feebly, "Do not be disturbed, Chief. I will be out of here in a few days." The attending nurse looked at me with pity, but the patient did not come through safely. After it was all over, his physician said nothing but his own desire to live saved him. He never would have pulled through if he had not refused to accept the possibility of death. I believe in the power of desire backed by faith because I have seen this power lift men from lowly beginnings to places of power and wealth. I have seen it rob the graves of its victims. I have seen it serve as the medium by which men stage a comeback after being defeated in 100 different ways. I have seen it provide my own son with a normal, happy, successful life, despite nature's having sent him into the world without ears. How can one harness and use the power of desire? This has been answered through this and the subsequent chapters of this book. This message is going out to the world at the end of the longest and perhaps the most devastating depression America has ever known. It is reasonable to presume that the message may come to the attention of many who may have been wounded by this depression. Those who have lost their fortunes, others who have lost their positions, and great numbers who must recognize their plans and stage a comeback. Y'all ought to type in the chat, stage a comeback. To all these, I wish to convey the thought that all achievement, no matter what may be its nature or its purpose, must begin with an intense, burning desire. Some desire for something definite. So could it be that many people are not achieving their goals because, number one, they don't have a desire, and number two, they don't have a clear, definite goal? I'm not stuck. We're going to let that one marinate. Through some strange and powerful principle of mental chemistry, which she has never divulged, nature wraps up the impulse of strong desire, that something which recognizes no such word as impossible and accepts no such reality as failure. That ends chapter 2, desire. And chapter 3, we begin titled faith, which is visualization of and belief in attainment of desire. Faith. Let's look up the definition of faith and let's see what the definition of faith is. Let's see. Faith is complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Faith is strong belief in God or in its doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. So faith is based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. A strongly held belief or theory. So if faith is the evidence of things, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith means I will act even though I have no idea how this is going to turn out, even though I have no idea what the results are going to be. Now, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Most people won't move forward because they have no idea where they're going to land. But faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. How can we say we believe that God is God, that he created the world? Like, why is it that the sun is up in the air? The moon is in the air. The stars are in the air and the grass is on the ground. Why is it that the water is in the ocean and the world is spinning around and around and around, but the water never ends up upside down? Why? Why is that? Why is it that an airplane can fly in the sky and can take you from one point of the world to another point in the world? And we get on those planes and we have faith that that plane is going to get us from point A to point B, but we don't have faith in the things that we literally can make happen with our hands, with our mind, with the power of belief. But this book says that chapter 3, faith, is the visualization of and belief in attainment of desire. It is the second step towards riches. Could it be that people don't have the riches that they say that they desire because they have no faith? Faith is the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it to infinite intelligence, as in the case of prayer. The emotions of faith, love, and sex are the most powerful of all the major positive emotions. When the three are blended, they have the effect of coloring the vibration of thought in such a way that it instantly reaches the subconscious mind, where it is changed into its spiritual equivalent, the only form that induces a response from infinite intelligence. Love and faith are psychic, related to the spiritual side of man. Sex is purely biological and related only to the physical. The mixing or the blending of these three emotions has the effect of opening a direct line of communication between the finite thinking mind of man and infinite intelligence. But how do we develop faith? There comes now a statement which will give a better understanding of the importance the principle of autosuggestion assumes in the transmutation of desire into its physical or monetary equivalent. Namely, faith is a state of mind which may be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instruction to the subconscious mind through the principle of autosuggestion. So let me tell you what autosuggestion is. Have any of you Googled like what is the best moisturizing primer for my skin? Right? I'm just throwing something out there. And then you go on Instagram And the moment that you log on to Instagram, boom, here comes moisturizing primers on Instagram. That is auto suggestion, or based on how you type your text messages, based on how you type on your tablet or your laptop or your desktop. Auto suggestion is automatically, while you're typing, based on what you normally type or look for, auto suggestions pop up based on the memory of the device that you're on. Based on auto suggestion is based on the memory of the device that you're on. I hope y'all are listening to me. So, here again, physical or monetary equivalent, namely faith, is a state of mind which may be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind. Meaning, you can force the brain to think something else if you keep giving it repeated instructions of affirmations, instructions to your subconscious mind through the principle of auto-suggestion. I am suggesting that I see 100,000 in volume. I am suggesting that I have 100 people, 100 leaders on my team, all earning $10,000 a month or more. I am suggesting that we're doing 1 million in sales a month by the end of December 31st, 2023. I am suggesting that I know that we could do what? Quantum leaps. You know why most people are not moving? Because they don't think that it can happen, because they're looking at what it looks like right now. But I know my faith says that as do you know your brain, once again, doesn't know the difference between the truth and a lie? And if you continue lying to yourself and telling yourself, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire, I am a millionaire, and I will produce X, Y, and Z. You can't say I'm a millionaire and then lay down on the sofa. You say I'm a millionaire and you go to work. And it can happen when faith is a state of mind which may be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind through the principle of autosuggestion. What are you giving your brain to believe? You know that our beliefs show up in our actions and our habits. So we don't even have to have a conversation with people. We can tell what you believe based on what you do or don't do. We know what you believe. You believe that woe is me, I'm never going to get out of this situation that I'm in right now. You believe that let me go sit over here in this corner and be sad. Maybe somebody will call me and come get me out of this corner. That's like I'm going to take my ball in the house so people can come looking for me. That's actually witchcraft. That's witchcraft. Instead of just showing up for you and what you say you want, because faith is a state of mind, right? As an illustration, consider the purpose for which you are presumably reading the book. As a matter of fact, why are you guys reading this book? Type it in the chat. What's up, Philly? I see you, Canada. Why are you reading this book? I know many of you are probably going to say, well, Nina suggested it. But even after I suggested it, why are you reading Think and Grow Rich? What is the result that you want to happen for you or to come? What result do you want from reading this book? Type it in the chat. Let me see. I think I see it. You see it in real time over there. I think I'm seeing it like delayed. Misha Spates. Okay.
Facebook user to grow and expand, become more. Cedric Gordon to grow personally and professionally. Cedric Gordon again to change my thinking. Felicia, a paradigm shift.
Paradigm shift. Powerful. Felicia, powerful. Tedra, Maisha.
Lacey Ann Campbell, first diamond in the Caribbean with the epic.
Come on.
Facebook user, stage a comeback.
Stage a comeback. Okay. So the object is naturally to acquire the ability to transmute the tangible thought impulse of desire into its physical counterpart, money. And why? You know, a lot of people have a problem with people who talk about money. They just do. Do you know I get inboxes of people saying to me, why are you always talking about money? Now, most times I just kind of just ignore those because I'm not going to allow those kind of thoughts to be planted in my mind by obviously, clearly people that are vibrating on a frequency way lower than the one that I'm on. So why would I even address it? Right? But the reality of it is money answers all things. Let me tell you why. So some of you wrote, I want to grow personally, develop personally, grow in my business, da 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 da. Da. Would you agree that if you were earning more income on the side, that it would free up more time for you to use to grow more personally? Yes or yes? Yes, right? If you had more income, you would be able to hire people to do the things that require your time, like cleaning and laundry and cooking and things like that. That would free up more of your time, so that you could then do what? Grow more, or grow your business more, or study more, or do more content creation and things like that. So the object is naturally to acquire the ability to transmute the tangible thought impulse of desire into its physical counterpart. So now what are we trying to do? We're going to transmute the tangible thought impulse of desire into its physical counterpart, money, by following the instructions laid down in the chapters on auto-suggestion and the subconscious mind. As summarized in the chapter on auto-suggestion, you may convince the subconscious mind that you believe you will receive that which you ask. And it will act upon that belief, which your subconscious mind passes back to you in the form of faith, followed by definite plans for procuring that which you desire. So, I'm going to summarize that in case some of y'all missed it. It says, by following the instructions laid down in these chapters on auto-suggestion, meaning there are chapters coming up on auto-suggestion. And when we follow the instructions, right? And then our subconscious mind, right? They're summarized in the chapter on auto-suggestion, that we're going to convince our conscious mind that we believe that you will receive that which you ask for. Basically, you need to say it now. I believe that I will receive that which I ask for, and then that which I work for. It's not just about asking and you receive, it's about asking and then doing the work. All right? Then we follow it by, listen, it says, believe that you will receive that for which you ask, and it will act upon that belief, which your subconscious mind then passes back to you in the form of faith, followed by definite plans for procuring that which you desire. The method by which one develops faith where it does not already exist is extremely difficult to describe, almost as difficult, in fact, as it would be to describe the color of red to a blind man who has never seen the color and has nothing with which to compare what you describe to him. Faith is a state of mind which you may develop at will. So doesn't that right there saying faith is a state of mind that you can develop at will means it doesn't have to take 10 years. Don't tell me, well, I mean, you got to, that's going to take some time to work on. No, it's not. This says you can develop it at will. At will, after you've mastered the 13 principles, because it is a state of mind which develops voluntarily through application and the use of these principles. Repetition of affirmation of orders to your subconscious mind is the only known method of voluntary development of the emotion of faith. Perhaps the meaning may be made clear through the following explanation as to the way men sometimes become criminals. Stated in the words of a famous criminologist, when men first come into contact with crime, they arbor it. If they remain in contact with crime for a time, they become accustomed to it and they endure it. And if they remain in contact with it long enough, they finally embrace it and they become influenced by it. This is the equivalent of saying that any impulse of thought which is repeatedly passed on to the subconscious mind is finally accepted and acted upon by the subconscious mind, which proceeds to translate that impulse into its physical equivalent by the most practical procedure available. In connection with this, consider again the statement: all thoughts which have been emotionalized or given feeling and mixed with faith begin immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent or counterpart. The emotions or the feeling portion of thoughts are the factors which give thoughts vitality, life, and action. The emotions of faith, love, and sex, when mixed with any thought impulse, give it greater action than any of these emotions can do singly. Not only thought impulses which have been mixed with faith, but those which have been mixed with any of the positive emotions or any negative emotions may reach and influence the subconscious mind. So, we saying, I'm leveling up. I'm ready to level up. I want my business to grow. I want to be a leader. I want to earn this kind of money. I want this amount of sales. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then you go back in your little cubby, or you get around somebody that's negative and a naysayer, and immediately, that now has influenced your subconscious mind. What other people think, what other people do, what other people don't do, automatically, immediately influences the subconscious mind. From this statement, you will understand that the subconscious mind will translate into its physical equivalent a thought impulse of a negative or destructive nature, just as readily as it will act upon thought impulses of a positive, constructive nature. Did y'all just hear that? So, if you give your mind negative, guess what's going to happen? You're going to go down a rabbit hole. Can I get a whoop whoop in the chat? If you give your mind negative stuff, and you know what's so crazy? I remember having a conversation with Paul, because we talked about it live, about the fact that he used to be so negative. And he tells a story often, y'all, about a time when we were living in Philadelphia, when we had bought our home. We had bought a brand new house on 21st Street in West Oak Lane. And so we bought the house, and Paul worked at nights. I believe you were working at nights then. And I fixed dinner, and I put his dinner on a glass plate. I didn't know whether he was taking it to work with him or not. I just made his plate so that he didn't have to worry about making the plate when he came downstairs. Paul came downstairs with the nastiest negative attitude. He woke up with a nasty attitude, came downstairs with a nasty attitude, to the point where I wanted to take the plate and throw it in his face. And I should have, right? No, I shouldn't have. But, right? How, first of all, bruh, do you know how many wives are not cooking and then putting it on a plate and waiting for it? If you want it, I'm taking this to work. Why would you put this on a glass? You done put it and slamming counters, y'all, slamming cabinets and slamming stuff. And guess what? When somebody asked him, he was talking about it here just a few weeks ago. I don't remember who was here at the house, but somebody asked him, well, why were you negative? And he said, I don't know. He was like, I don't know. You allow yourself to go down a rabbit hole. Literally, y'all, it was to the point where I was like, okay, we not gonna make it like this. Cause here I am every day, like, hey, ho, hey. And then it was like, huh? It was so bad, y'all, that people would call me to ask, was the coast clear? Can we come through? Or what kind of mood is he in today? That's how bad it was. That other people saw how bad the disposition was. And then finally, you guys, I started blasting the personal development around the house. Then I noticed Paul started going to the gym. And when he started going to the gym, things started to change. It's funny, I did a reel, and I think it's going to play tomorrow morning. If you got a bad attitude, go to the gym. If you need to lose weight, go to the gym. If you need to go to the gym. Literally, if you're hungry, go to the gym, right? But y'all, I started to notice that things started to change. But if you keep yourself in that negative space, you will spiral downward under control, out of control. All right. It's a destructive, negative is a destructive nature. Same thing with positive, right? This accounts for the strange phenomenon with so many millions of people experience, referred to as misfortune or bad luck. Could it be the state of mind that you're in and you keep experiencing these misfortunes, right? There are millions of people who believe themselves doomed to poverty and failure. How many of you believe it? You don't have to write it in the chat. But there are some of you listening to me right now, whether you're watching this live or you're watching the replay. There are so many of you that believe that you are doomed to poverty and failure because of some strange force over which they believe they have no control. They are creators of their own misfortunes because of this negative belief, which is picked up by the subconscious mind and translated into its physical equivalent. I want y'all to understand something. People that have success are not successful just because they have some different kind of blood running through their veins. They're successful because when it was hard, they didn't quit. And I'm going to tell you right now, when you look at people who are having success, people think that it's never been hard. And I'm telling you that most of my life, I joke all the time and I say, all my life I had to fight. I sat out there in that jailhouse about to rot to death. All my life, I've had to fight. Nothing has ever come on a silver or gold platter for me. Never. I didn't believe that I was doomed. I believed that there was some force beyond what I knew at that time. Something was going to happen to be a break for me. And that something was when I changed my mindset. Your mindset is your superpower. I want y'all to type that in the chat. My mindset is my superpower. My mindset is my superpower. And I've realized my mindset is my superpower, not just the skills and the things, but when you elevate your mind, you elevate everything around you. You elevate the people around you. When you elevate your mind, it isn't even fun being around the same circle of people that you used to be around. If you know that you're living a life of fitness, but everybody you around, when you looking around, they are not an example of what you believe, that's not fun. You need to cut it. Cut it seriously. Because if that is not why do you go to the gym? You go to the gym not just because you can work out at home. Come on, we could all work out at home, but you go to the gym to be in an environment where everyone is doing the same thing. It is no different. You join a business, you get on the trainings, and when you don't show up, you're leaving yourself out there to spiral down that negative rabbit hole. All right? So translate it into its physical equivalent. Let me go back. Read that. They are creators of their own misfortunes because of this negative belief, which is picked up, by the subconscious mind and translated into its physical equivalent. This is an appropriate place at which to suggest again that you may benefit by passing on to your subconscious mind any desire which you wish translated into its physical or monetary equivalent in a state of expectancy or belief that the transmutation will actually take place. Your belief or faith is the element which determines the action of your subconscious mind. Your belief or faith is the element which determines the action of your subconscious mind. There is nothing to hinder you from deceiving your subconscious mind when giving it instructions through auto-suggestion, as I deceived my son's subconscious mind. There is nothing that hinders you from deceiving your mind. You literally can trick your mind into believing I can be consistent. I can be disciplined. I can control this. I can. To make this deceit more realistic, conduct yourself just as you would if you were already in possession of the material thing which you are demanding when you call upon your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind will transmute into its physical equivalent by the most direct and practical media available. Any order which is given to it in a state of belief or faith that the order will be carried out, surely enough, has been stated to give a starting point from which one may, through experiment and practice, acquire the ability to mix faith with any order given to the subconscious mind. Perfection will come through practice. It cannot come by merely reading the instructions. That is so good. Perfection will come through practice. It cannot come by merely reading the instructions. You know, I think about it all the time. People join my business and some have success, a lot have success, and then some absolutely do not. They don't plug in, they don't log in, they don't read directions, and they expect for it to just be dropped in their lap. Perfection comes through practice. It cannot come by merely joining the team. Perfection comes by getting connected. It cannot merely come by just joining the team. If it be true that one may become a criminal by association with crime, and this is a known fact, it is equally true that one may develop faith by voluntarily suggesting to the subconscious mind that one has faith. The mind comes finally to take on the nature of the influences which dominate it. Understand this truth, and you will know why it is essential for you to encourage the positive emotions as dominating forces of your mind and discourage and eliminate negative emotions. A mind dominated by positive emotions becomes a favorable abode for the state of mind known as faith. A mind so dominated may at will give the subconscious mind instructions which it will accept and act upon immediately. Faith is a state of mind which may be induced by auto-suggestion. All down the ages, the religionists have admonished struggling humanity to have faith in this and that and the other dogma or creed, but they have failed to tell people how to have faith. They have not stated that faith is a state of mind and that it may be induced by self-suggestion. In language which any normal human being can understand, we will describe all that is known about the principle through which faith may be developed. Where it does not already exist. Have faith in yourself. Faith is faith in the infinite. Before we begin, you should be reminded again that faith is the external elixir which gives life, power, and the action to the impulse of thought. The foregoing sentences were reading a second time, and a third, and a fourth. It is worth reading aloud. Faith is the starting point of the accumulation of riches. Somebody ought to type that in the chat. Faith is the starting point of the accumulation of riches. Faith is the basis of all miracles and all mysteries which cannot be analyzed by the rules of science. Faith is the only known antidote for failure. Faith is the element, the chemical, which when mixed with prayer gives one direct communication with infinite intelligence. Faith is the element which transforms the ordinary vibration of thought created by the finite mind of man into the spiritual equivalent. Faith is the only agency through which the cosmic force of infinite intelligence can be harnessed and used by man. Every one of the foregoing statements is capable of proof. The proof is simple and easily demonstrated. It is wrapped up in the principle of autosuggestion. Let us center our attention, therefore, upon the subject of self-suggestion and find out what it is and what it is capable of achieving. It is a well-known fact that one comes finally to believe whatever one repeats to oneself. I'm not stuck. It is a well-known fact that one comes finally to believe whatever one repeats to one's self. It's like the little engine that could. He basically just kept saying, I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Now, he didn't know how he was going to get up the hill, but I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. And some of you need to stop it with the self-negative talk and just sit there. I think I can. I know I can. I will. I will. I will. I will. Whether the statement be true or false, if a man repeats a lie over and over and over, he will eventually accept the lie as a truth. I will lose this 50 pounds. I will lose this 50 pounds. I will lose this 50 pounds. and see yourself smaller. See, I remember when the day that I saw myself. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, I didn't quite see myself this small. I assumed that I would get down to like a 8, 10. But the reality of it is this is the size that I'm supposed to be. But literally, if you just keep repeating something over, I think about a girlfriend of mine that I grew up with who kept thinking that she was pregnant. Y'all, to the point where she would look like she was pregnant. She lied to herself so much that her body began to look like it was expecting. And she would tell us all the time, hey, y'all, I'm pregnant. And we would say, really, how far along? Oh, 4 months, 5 months. And she looked pregnant because she was convincing herself she had a sickness and was convincing herself that she was pregnant. If a man repeats a lie over and over, he will eventually accept the lie as truth. Moreover, he will believe it to be the truth. Every man is what he is because of the dominating thoughts which he permits to occupy his or her mind. Every man is what he is because of the dominating thoughts which he or she permits to occupy his or her mind. I didn't say it. Don't hate the messenger, hate the message. I'm going to say this one more time. Every man is what he or she is because of the dominating thoughts which he or she permits to occupy his or her mind. Thoughts which a man deliberately places in his own mind and encourages with sympathy, and with which he mixes any one or more of the emotions, constitute the motivating forces which direct and control his every movement, act, and deed. Comes now a very significant statement of truth. Thoughts which are mixed with any of the feelings of emotions constitute a magnetic force which attracts from the vibrations of the ether other similar or related thoughts. A thought thus magnetized with emotion may be compared to a seed which, when planted in fertile soil, germinates, grows, and multiplies itself over and over again until that which was originally one small seed becomes countless millions of seeds of the same brand. Y'all, it's like, what was the gremlins? Remember when you would wet the gremlin? They would just multiply, and they would say, they don't die, they multiply. So you're watering the negative thoughts that you have because the book says every man is what he is because of the dominating thoughts which he permits to occupy his mind. And you're pouring water over the dominating thoughts which are occupying your mind. And those are duplicating. They are multiplying. The ether is a great cosmic mass of external forces of vibration. It is made up of both destructive vibrations and constructive vibrations. It carries at all times vibrations of fear, poverty, disease, failure, misery, and vibrations of prosperity, health, success, and happiness, just as surely as it carries the sound of hundreds of orchestrations of music and hundreds of human voices, all of which maintain their own individuality and means of identification through the medium of radio. We got 10 minutes from the great storehouse of the ether. The human mind is constantly attracting vibrations which harmonize with which dominates the human mind. Any thought, idea, plan, or purpose which one holds in one's mind attracts from the vibrations of the ether. A host of its relatives adds these relatives to its own force and grows until it becomes the dominating, motivating master of the individual in whose mind it has been housed. Now, let us go back to the starting point and become informed as to how the original seed of an idea, plan, or purpose may be planted in the mind. The information is easily conveyed. Any idea, plan, or purpose may be placed in the mind through repetition of thought. This is why you are asked to write out the statement of your major purpose or definite chief aim. Commit it to memory and repeat it in audible words day after day until these vibrations of sound have reached your subconscious mind. We are what we are because of the vibrations of thought which we pick up and register through the stimuli of our daily environment. Resolve to throw off the influences of any unfortunate environment and to build your own life to order. Taking inventory of mental assets and liabilities, you will discover that your greatest weakness is the lack of self-confidence. This handicap can be surmounted and timidity translated into courage through the aid of the principle of autosuggestion. The application of this principle may be made through a simple arrangement of positive thoughts, impulses stated in writing, memorized, and repeated until they become a part of the working equipment of the subconscious faculty of your mind. Now, we've got 8 minutes left, but I think I'm going to stop right there because we're going to go into the self-confidence formula. And I don't know about y'all, but I am also reading the self-confidence formula. And it is an amazing book, but the self-confidence formula is a pretty big chapter. No, it's not. It's not so bad. A pretty after dinner speech for $1 billion. I'll wait. We'll start this next Monday, you guys, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we are going to start next week with the self-confidence formula. Yep. And there's 5 principles that Napoleon Hill gives us on the self-confidence formula. One part of this chapter that I love is when he says, if you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost certain that you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world we find, success begins with the fellow's will. It's all in the state of the mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. I told you your mindset is your superpower. So you can ever win a prize. Trying to read the end. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or the faster man, but soon or late, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. All right. So we'll read that again next week. We'll start with the chapter on the self-confidence formula. I am so grateful that you all have joined us today, and I pray that you got something good out of what we read today. So, wow, I'm looking at your comments. Do we have 1 or 2 questions before we leave here? The strangest secret. That's right, Sean Dunnigan. The strangest secret. You know, you guys, we are about to embark upon doing one of the biggest things I've ever done in my career of network marketing. And I'm very excited. And there's no fear. I guess the only, I don't even, because I'm not even worried about the how it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. I just know that it is going to happen. And as we continue to build the belief of other people, and some people are already there in place, and some people are not even there. But I believe that there's going to be a massive explosion in the next 7 to 10 days. And literally that after October the 1st, it's going to be like a roaring locomotive. There will be nothing that we can do to even stop what's getting ready to happen. And so this is an amazing time of my life because I am being stretched as well. And I'm learning to really, really learning more and more and more and more about having to have faith and having to have it in such a way, y'all, that you literally can only trust God to make it happen, right? You go do the work and you keep doing the work and you trust God to just make it happen. And so, I don't see any questions. You don't see any questions on your end, right? So I hope that you enjoyed this book club. I hope that you guys are going to come back Monday and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Okay, you guys? And remember that no matter what you're going through in your life, that you can live again, laugh again, hope again, dream again, and you most certainly can bling again. I want you to enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a bling-tastic evening. Have a bling-tastic rest of your week. Be kind to one another. Do a good deed and pay it forward. And don't you forget to subscribe to Bling TV 3765, y'all, so that you can get your alerts as to when we are going live. All right. We love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. We'll see you next time. Good night, and God bless you all.